Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week we are going to be reading the All for the Game series. I am so excited because I'm gonna be honest, I did already read the first one, the Foxhole Court, but I've got the other two to read, and here we go. Foxhole Court, the Raven King, the King's Men. I got two more to read, and technically maybe the fourth one if I have time, but also because the fourth one's not ready at the library, and it's also part of like another series in the main world, so it's not like the same characters, but we'll see. But anyways, this is a very popular series. People adore it. It's found family, it's queer, there's like a combination of the mafia and then like sports and college. It's odd. It also kind of reads like an AO3 fanfic in a good way. Like, it's not that it has this beautiful lyrical prose, but it's addictive, it's fun, and also the writing's not bad. So all in all, I had a really good time reading the Foxhole Court, the first one, and I can't wait to get back into the world and read the following books. Basically, in the first book, Neil, the main character, is on the run from his dad because his dad is part of this like gang and mafia thing. Yeah, and so he's on the run with his mom, and then something happens to his mom, and he ends up in this little town, and he's laying low. And in the high school he starts playing Xe, but turns out he had already played Xe before, and actually he had played Xe when he was little with another main character, like when they were little, right? Then at that high school, when he's playing the game, he gets scouted by this college team that plays Xe professionally in college. He gets scouted, and they're like a band of misfits. Like, they're all kind of effed up in the head. Everything's effed up, and so he gets scouted. He kind of is forced to go, but he's also like, he loves the game and he really wants to go. Turns out that little kid that he had played Xe with is part of that band of misfits at that college. So he now has to make sure that that guy does not recognize him. So far, it's good. Everything's fine. The first book basically follows them as they're playing. There's a new season of this game. And so the first book is mainly just the game. It's called Xe, and it's kind of like a combination of like hockey and lacrosse. At least to me, like, I was envisioning hockey, but like without the ice, which is kind of lacrosse. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know the details. In a lot of the arts styles things, the fan art that people made, it kind of looked like they were playing lacrosse, so it's probably that. I'm not sure. But anyways, so yeah, in the first book, they're mostly just playing the game. Some things happen, and in the second, I think people have saying that there's more mafia in the second and third one, and also two of the characters get together. I'm not going to say who, because when I was reading the first one, I thought it was two characters, ended up not being them. Actually, I lied. I will probably say it later. So if you don't want, because like once they get together, I'm definitely gonna be like, you know? So we'll see. But yeah, in the first book, I definitely thought it was two other people getting together, but it wasn't. It turns out it's not them. I went on TikTok. I was looking for ship edits of that couple, and like I couldn't find any. I was like, that's odd. Aren't they the main couple? No, they were not. They were not the main couple. I also do have quite a few things to do at the first part of this week. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, because it's Monday. And then the second half of the week, I have nothing to do. Actually, I have one thing, but I don't have much to do. So we're gonna be really reading the series, really devouring it using the Kindle. I think it's gonna be the first reading vlog with my Kindle, so that's very cool. Anyways, let's go. Let's get reading. So it's actually Wednesday. I didn't film yesterday because I was just busy, and also I had to do babysitting that took off like at least 5 years from my life expectancy. But I am at chapter 9, about 48% into the book, so basically halfway done, and I'm really liking it so far. Okay, so obviously, like I mentioned earlier in the video, there's like a mix of like them playing their sport and then also like mafia mystery elements, and I am much more interested in like Neil's past and each character's past, and also like what the Moriyama situation is and like the mafia situation is. Like, I'm much more interested in that than the games, because the author does write like entire chapters where it's like basically just the game, so she's literally detailing every single thing that happens in the game. And it's not that I like don't care about it, but at the same time, like, I don't care about the specifics that much, so those chapters are, I wouldn't say boring, but they're just not as entertaining for me, and I go through them much more slowly. I'm hoping there's like a little bit more action in the like mystery part, and also that we find out more about Andrew. I feel like we know quite a lot about Neil, obviously. We're finding out like more things about Kevin and about the Moriyamas, but I want more about Andrew specifically, like Andrew and Aaron's situation, but specifically Andrew, because I feel like we're getting to know more about him, but not enough, and I'm craving more. So the romance has not happened yet, so I think now I'm about halfway done with the series, because I read the first book and then half of the second book, so I have the second half of the second and the third book, and I have no idea when the romance is gonna come up, because like so far there's like maybe like one hint. It's like 2% of what it's gonna grow to be, and I want the romance so bad. Like I've seen TikToks and I've seen like fan art and everything, and I know it's gonna be so cute, and I want it. Happy Thursday, everyone. I have about 45 minutes left of the book of The Raven King, and I'm very nervous because there's like, the plot is going somewhere and I can just tell it's gonna go to shit. It's now Christmas break and they're all going their separate ways, and Neil is kind of forced to go somewhere, and it's not gonna end well. That's all I'm saying. And we're also not even like seeing Andrew, because something horrific happened to Andrew again, and now he's in this like little institution to get better and also to get off of his pills, because he's been on these like psychosis pills, I think. He has some sort of personality disorder, and he's been on these pills for I think 3 years, like years basically since the start of the series. And we're gonna see him in the third book finally off of his pills, and I'm very intrigued to see like how he acts, how he's gonna be different, because every character always mentions to Neil like, oh, you don't want to see Andrew off his pills, like he's crazy, he's completely different. And I'm obviously intrigued to see, and obviously I want him to get better. So yeah, Andrew is my baby now. Not to infantilize a grown-ass man, but he's my favorite character. I love Andrew. I do think, yes, okay, obviously his disorder causes him to behave in some inappropriate ways at certain points, but he's had such a bad upbringing and horrible childhood, and I feel so deeply for him. And he obviously cares, even though he's like on these drugs that literally completely like change him and his essence, you know. He's still like super protective of like his friends and who he considers his family, and I think he's super cute. I also do like Neil, even though Neil is kind of oblivious. Like Neil is in denial about so many things, but also that's a result of his childhood. I mean, all of their childhoods sucked, so yeah. But I just don't know how the author is gonna wrap up the last book, because there's gonna be so much to sort out, like Neil and his father, Neil and the Moriyamas, Andrew and Aaron's relationship, Andrew off of his pills, Kevin and his mental health, and then Kevin's relationship with Rico and the Moriyamas. Like there's just so much. Oh, and the romance, like we haven't really even gotten most of the romance, so there's gonna be so much to wrap up. I have no idea how she's gonna do it, but we'll see. I'm obviously gonna read the third one in this vlog as well, but yeah, I'm gonna finish this book, come back, give you my readings. I'm feeling stressed. I wanted to give a little update before I finish. I also wanted to mention I received this book. I actually won this in a Goodreads giveaway. I won the arc for The Prince Without Sorrows by this debut author, and this is a new fantasy trilogy that is perfect for fans of the Jasmine Throne and the Hurricane Wars, and apparently it's inspired by the Mauryan Empire of ancient India, and it includes haunted witches, romantic angst, and political intrigue. So very excited to read this, and I've like never This is actually the first Goodreads giveaway I won, and I ended up winning like a couple weeks after this another one that hasn't arrived yet. But I never even imagined myself winning a Goodreads giveaway. If you've ever wondered if someone has won one, I'm proof. I'm proof. Here it is. And yeah, I'm very excited to read it. I've been wanting to read The Jasmine Throne for a long time, so knowing that this is kind of similar, I just know I'm gonna like it. I just wanted to mention because I got some book mail. Let's go read. I literally, like 45 minutes, it's like what, like 2 chapters? Like I feel like there can be quite a lot that happens in 2 chapters. Like, I don't know, I'm not ready, we'll see. I finished book 2. I'm moving on to book 3 right now because I need to read more. I need to know what's gonna happen because the ending for book 2, the ravens are psychotic. Like the ravens are psychotic. I just can't believe this cold ass team is about to abuse my children. No. It's a very violent end of book 2. I'm happy that Neil is now back with the team and everything, but like the team's obviously gonna find out what happened. I mean, I'm really trying not to spoil anything, but the team's obviously gonna find out. They're obviously not gonna be happy. But like, is Andrew gonna know that like Neil did it to like save him? Did he even save him? Like, I feel like probably not. Then what was revealed about like Kevin and the coach, what was revealed about like Kevin's past, obviously through Neil's current abuse. Oh my god. Definitely check trigger warnings. I ended up giving this book a 4 because I do think it's a step up from book 1. I still think that like the writing is obviously lacking. Like, it's not like stunning writing. I think the more that I'm reading, the more I like realize that like the writing quality is not my typical quality, which is why I probably will not be able to give any of these book 5 stars, because for me a 5-star, like the writing needs to be top notch. But that does not take away from like the fun of the book and like how entertaining and the series is, and how much you like really feel for the characters and you almost feel like you're part of the team, you know. And I really like when authors are like able to really make you connect with the people, because sometimes some of the books are like really well written, everything, the storyline is great and the world is great, but like you just simply cannot connect with the characters. But here I'm like, they're my babies, they're mine, they're my children, I would do anything to protect them. There's this quote that he says towards the end, like I have to read to you guys. He was their family. They were his. They were worth every cut and bruise and scream. They're the ultimate found family. I actually can't. They are the cutest. I just know by the end of the series, like they're all going to be the biggest family ever. And then with the romance introduced, which, okay, there's not really, I mean, there's like, it's a slow burn, obviously. There's inklings of the romance in book 2, but like no one has outwardly been like, oh yeah, I have a crush, you know. So if you're expecting them to like get together in book 1, that doesn't happen. They don't get together in book 2 either. I do know that they do get together in book 3. That's like a spoiler, I know. I don't know if it's a spoiler. I don't think it's a spoiler since everyone like knows that this is a romance book. So if it's not in book 1 and 2, it has to be in the last book. But I need to read it right now. I just don't know how they're all gonna react to like what happened to Neil. Like obviously they're gonna be like, and like Neil is truly going through like psychological damage, so I don't know. And then like what Rico said about like joining the Ravens, like I don't know, like Happy Friday, everyone. Andrew has officially acknowledged his crush on Neil. I have prayed for times like these. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm on chapter 7, so I'm like 30% into the book. And okay, this happened like 10% ago, and they haven't really progressed that much, but it's okay. I'm giving them some time. Andrew accepted it. He's like, 90% of the time I hate you, but 10% of the time I want to kind of fuck you. And I'm like, yeah. And then Neil is like, oh. He's not mad at the crush. He's just like, huh, this is interesting turn of events. He's not ready at all to accept anything that he might be slightly obsessed with Andrew. No, he's not ready to accept that. So we'll see. But so far, they're really cute. They're really cute. They're really cute. But I feel like I need a little more about Kevin. Like, I need them to just, I feel like Kevin, ever since I found out that Kevin is a history nerd, I love him. I'm a history nerd. So now knowing that Kevin's a history nerd, I'm like, why is no one asking him about some nerdy history facts? You know? So I need my man Kevin to, I don't know, I feel like he's been kind of like on the back burner. He hasn't really been mentioned too much, but I have an interview in an hour and I'm very nervous about it. So I'm gonna prep more. I'm gonna clean my room and prep more, and then I'll come back and read. But they're getting together. It's getting closer. I have to remind myself that Andrew is 5 foot and Neil is like 5'3". I thought Neil was 5'5". No, he's 5'3". I have given them about 8 inches each. Because what do you mean he's 5 foot tall? Like, what was even the point? Like, this series is so funny. It's actually so funny. Wait, no, it's actually not that funny. It's not, but it is funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. Like, they're punching each other every single second. Yeah. Bro, they're always freaking fighting. I genuinely, like, I don't even know what's the problem this time. Told me CapCut was also getting banned. CapCut is where I edit all these videos. Thank God I logged into CapCut and they were like, yep, it's getting banned. This is like, this whole thing is devastating. TikTok, CapCut, everything getting banned. Anyways, I'm here to say that they kissed, but it's not really looking like it's going anywhere. Honestly, I don't know. I'm 42% in. I've got some more than 50, and it's like, obviously I know they're gonna get together, but I don't know the extent of their relationship, because like I don't even have a read on Andrew yet. I don't know. But yeah, Neil is kind of like, he's kind of up for it. Like, he's kind of up to hook up, I feel. But they kissed. Happy Sunday. I'm 57% into the book. I know I should have read more yesterday, but I didn't. Anyways, I'm 57% in, and they just played Binghamton University, which, if you've read the series, you know. And I'm getting stressed out because something big is about to happen. I did get slight spoilers for this, so I kind of know what's gonna happen, but like I can also obviously infer what's gonna happen. And I'm very stressed out. And also, Neil has finally accepted his like attraction to Andrew, and then like Andrew has too, so they've been low-key like making out everywhere, and it's so cute because I think Neil definitely like is kind of in love with Andrew actually, and I expected more like push when it came to him, but he's actually kind of embracing it. Andrew is definitely the one that's like, no, which I understand. He definitely has his boundaries, and what's happened to him in the past definitely affecting his ability to really like be part of a romance. But they're super cute. They're super cute. I actually wasn't even expecting them to be this cute. Like, I knew they were gonna be cute, but they're super cute. And now this thing happens. I'm like, you know. It's a couple days later, and I received a terrible notification this morning. They told me that the King's Men got returned to Libya, and I was like, there's no way. So I quickly log in. I put my Kindle in airplane mode. Thankfully, it's still there. I don't know why my Kindle turned off, but thankfully, it was still there. I had like 30 pages left. I was like, there's no way you're doing this to me. Thankfully, all ends well. All ended well. I finished the book, and I'm here to give you my final rating on the King's Men, also my final rating on the overall series, and then the pros, the cons, if I recommend it, etc. I ended up giving the King's Men a 4.25. I was kind of debating between like a 4.15, 4.20, 4.25. And I ended up going 4.25 because I was considering the other ratings I've given this year and also the ratings I gave last year, and I did really enjoy this book. I think this was the best book of the entire series, and I think Nora Sakovic, her writing actually got better throughout the series. I think The Foxhole Court and The Raven King, it's not like the best writing, and obviously I don't think it's like the most beautiful writing ever. I've read obviously like better books in terms of the writing style, but I think she definitely improved, and you can just like really tell she like put so much soul into this series and into the last book, and everything actually wrapped up quite well. I am still kind of confused on like who the F Neil's uncle is. Like, I know who he is in terms of like, you know, his mother's brother, but I feel like his mother's side of like the mafia thing, not very clear. But at the same time, like, I don't really care enough. Like, to me, I just cared about the characters. I did care about the plot, obviously, but I will say in like ranking, number one would be like the characters, the family. Like, the found family part is what I kept reading the series for. Number two was like the mafia plot. Like, I wanted to know what was gonna happen, you know, what was gonna happen with Rico, what was gonna happen with the Moriyamas, all that. And like, obviously, if Neil was still gonna be on the run and everything. And then the thing I cared about the least would definitely be Exy. I don't know if it's just like I'm not really a sport, like, yeah, sport fan, but Exy was just not my vibe. Like, I didn't really care much about the games, and every time there was a chapter about like the practice and the games, like, I liked how the sport like made the characters kind of grow up and like gave the characters growth. And it was obviously like Neil and Kevin really loved Exy, and like everyone except kind of like Andrew really likes Exy, you know, and so like that I cared about. But like the actual like games and like everything was described about the game, I didn't really give a lot of F's about that. Like, oh, okay, like Dan passed him like Kevin. Okay. I do think the ending was definitely kind of like, I don't think it was rushed, but it was definitely like a happily ever after, which is great considering the trauma the characters have gone through. But at the same time, like, I don't think it's very realistic. But at the same time, a mafia and Exy book is not going to be realistic in any way, so I didn't really give too many F's about that either. The best thing about the series is the fan family, and like seeing from the first book them really not getting along, and then in the last book the progress every character has made, and the new dynamics in each relationship, and the new like romantic connections formed, and the friendships formed, and everyone trusting each other more. And it was just, I really loved that aspect of the book or the series. I definitely am a very big character analysis, literally always forget this word when I'm filming. Character study, that's what it is. I love character studies, and so I do think there was definitely part of the series was a big character study. It was about seeing how each character grows and each character interacts with each other, and that was definitely my favorite part of the series. I'm a big found family gal. I will always love it. If you give me found family and then you sprinkle a couple queer relationships, yeah, you got me, basically. In terms of am I obsessed with this series, I did really enjoy it, and I will think about it for a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a series that has changed my trajectory, that has changed my life, changed my essence, and that I will think about it every day for the rest of my life. I do know a lot of fans on TikTok and on Reddit and just everywhere of this book series really adore this book, and it has like genuinely changed their lives. I cannot say this series has changed my life. I can't even say it's part of the books that has changed my life. I think a book that genuinely has changed me and changed and reshaped my thinking and my worldviews and everything would be a 5-star, and none of these books are 5 stars. We'll be thinking about it. I will be reading fanfics about Andrew and Neil. That will happen. Another thing that a lot of fans say is that like they love the series but they just can't recommend the book to others, which yes, there are definitely trigger warnings in this series, and I would search that up before going and reading it, but at the same time I don't think it's the heaviest thing ever. I don't even think it's like mental health wise it's the worst thing I've read. So a lot of people I feel like maybe a little bit dramatic with like, oh, it's gonna ruin your life, like I can't recommend it to anyone. I would recommend it to people. I don't think it's the worst thing. I've read fanfics that had me like crying in the dark at 5 a.m. Read a lot more heavy and impactful books than this, so I'm not like someone that's like, oh, it was so terrible emotionally that like I can't subject you to it. I don't think it was that terrible. Like obviously each character has a lot of trauma, and I would definitely check trigger warnings because there are certain themes of SA and stuff like that, so that can be triggering for a lot of people. But if you're someone that doesn't have any triggers and reads a variety of genres and a variety of themes, I don't think it's going to be the heaviest thing you've ever read. I don't think it's going to leave you traumatized, and I would recommend, if you're someone who is like me and really likes a found family vibe, who likes a beautiful romance, who kind of is like trying to read a book series that reminds me of like staying up till 3 a.m. and reading fanfics on AO3, you know. I think this is a fun series, but also obviously deals with very intense themes, so it's not like a great time, you know. It's not like you're giggling at every moment. I would definitely recommend. It might not be for everyone. I have seen some people that didn't like it. I will say the first book is slower. I don't know if I talked about the first book enough, but the first book is definitely slower. The second book is where it picks up, and then the third book is definitely like the grand finale. It's also the longest one, and it's definitely more captivating and intriguing because more like the questions are answered and there's more about like the mafia stuff, and also Andrew and Neil's relationship is developing. So if you knew Andrew and Neil were getting together, which I did, and you kind of like read the book in hopes of a nice queer relationship, the third one will definitely be your favorite because that's when like they finally get together and all that. So I feel like I've been talking so much, but yeah, I definitely have quite a lot to say about this book. The ending was quite crazy. The King's Men, like the ending specifically, crazy. The epilogue, like I was not expecting that out of an epilogue, you know. The series did end well. The fourth and the fifth book, I don't know if there's gonna be 6 books, but follow Jean Moreau, who was part of the Ravens and now is part of another team. I stopped myself because I was like, is that a spoiler? But like I realized that the 4th book, the description is like Jean Moreau somewhere else, so it's like kind of obvious. I've seen some people say that they genuinely didn't give a F about Jean, and like they never even thought about him when they were reading this main series. I can't say that actually. I definitely am very intrigued about Jean, and even I felt like the tiniest of empathy for Rico, but like it's immediately engulfed by the fact that he's so abusive and he was so terrible. But there's just like a tiny part of me that's like, he could have changed, you know. And I'm sad that he didn't change. He could have, and he was just as traumatized as everyone else. But like in the other characters, I would probably exclude Andrew for this, but the other characters definitely, despite their traumas, they didn't act abusive towards anyone. Rico definitely did, so he has no excuses, but I do understand a tiny bit his reasons. I feel it seems a bit bad for him, but not really, because he's an abuser. Oh, the last thing I wanted to mention, which I wanted to mention earlier, but I keep forgetting, is that Nora does something very interesting, and I've only noticed this out of another author, Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and she repeats some information in the second book that's like already mentioned in the first book, and then she repeats it again in like the third book. I think the third book she did less of this, but in the second book specifically, she repeated a lot of information that was given in the first book, and kind of like obvious information, you know, like, oh, like Neil, like just it's very obvious information. And I was always wondering like why she did that. I was wondering like maybe was she thinking that some people were reading The Raven King without having read The Foxhole Court, or reading like the King's Men without having read the other two books. So yeah, I don't necessarily know why authors do that, because it's like it's very obvious details that like it's just so repetitive if you've already read the first and second books. So I'm assuming that they do it because they just assume that people haven't read those books. But I just like, I don't think the series can be read. Like, I don't think you can just read the second book and understand. Like, maybe you can. I definitely don't think you can read the third book and like understand everything, because the third book definitely like throws you in. Even the second book's kind of throws you in. But like, anyways, something that I noticed, and I keep wondering because I noticed that Jennifer Lynn Barnes did that with the Natural series, and it kind of annoyed me. And then Nora Sakovich did that with this series, and I was like, huh. I've never read any other series that does that apart from the Naturals, and now you're telling me there's a second series that does this. Like, it's kind of odd. I think that's it. I think that's everything I have to say. I'm going to close out this video by putting my cumulative average of all three. The first one I rated a 3.75, the second one a 4, and the third one a 4.25. I'm not doing the math in my head right now. I do not feel like it, but I will put it on the screen. And yeah, definitely first is like Foxhole Court 3, Raven King 2, King's Men 1. That's definitely my ranking. I think ranking of characters is very hard. I think I just have like a certain soft spot for Neil, just because he is the narrator. See the story through his eyes. So I definitely, like, he's probably, I would say, my favorite character. I did also love Renee. Like Dan, I like Matt a lot. I did like Kevin as well. I feel like Aaron and Nikki, I'm a little more neutral on. Like, I didn't love or hate them, obviously. I don't really hate anyone except for like Rico and the Moriyamas and like Neil's dad. I think Andrew is kind of like, Andrew is very interesting because he does some things that are inexcusable, but you understand why he did this because of his past, and also because he's so fiercely protective of the people he loves, and also because of his mental illness. It's like you understand, but like sometimes you're like, that's low-key inexcusable, you know? So like with Andrew, I can't say he's someone who did no wrong, because he obviously did do some things wrong, but I still have immense amount of empathy for him, and I really did like Andrew as a character, especially towards the end. You can tell that he's kind of just a violent teddy bear. He's so cute with Neil. I don't know, I'm scared to read the extras, because apparently there's some extra stories. If anyone has ever read the extra stories, let me know. I think they're in like a PDF or something. I'm kind of scared to read them because some people said that it kind of ruined the series for them, because Nora kind of like got rid of all their character growth, and if that's true, I definitely don't want to read them because their character growth was really good. So I don't want to erase all of that, but at the same time, if there's more like cute moments between them, I do kind of want to read that. So anyways, we'll see. I've yapped way too much. I recommend the book, I recommend the series. Let me know, actually, I'm going to read, what's it called, The Raven Boys? I'm gonna read that, or The Raven Cycle maybe? Anyways, I'm gonna read that series. Apparently it's kind of similar to this one. We'll see. But yeah, if there's any other series that you guys want me to read, to film reading, any recommendations you have, definitely let me know. I'm always, like, my TBR is never ending. I probably have like 500 books. Not physically, but like I have like so many books I want to read, but I'm always open to new recommendations and all that. So yes, if you are new here and you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Also, if you're not new here, I love you guys. I love all my reoccurring subscribers. Yeah, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you next week. Every Friday is my upload schedule. So Sunday and Tuesdays are my like shorts. I upload some shorts, and then every Friday we got a full-length video. I think next week is going to be a 24-hour readathon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yes, thank you guys for watching once again. I love you, and I will see you next week. Bye. Bye.